Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, man, we are reacting to Austin Sweat, greatest current player drafted from every NBA team. So, yeah, I know my Detroit Pistons, we are notorious, for drafting the guy and giving up on him. They end up being great somewhere else. Not like any, top-notch players, kind of like Chris Middleton or Spencer Dinwiddie are good examples. But they're not, the best players on their teams, but still guys we gave up on him, man. But, right now, ours is probably, Sadiq Bey. Because we got a young-ass squad, right, man, of guys we drafted. So here we go. Let's check this out and see what these players are looking like.
A couple of videos back, we looked at the greatest starting 5 drafted by every team. If you haven't checked out that one, I'll link in the description. But now we're looking at the best current player drafted from every team. Doesn't matter what team they're on now, we're just basing it off of which team made the original pick for that player. And
Okay.
seeing where they've wound up. And for some fans of certain teams, this is going to be okay. But for others, this one might hurt to watch.
Oh boy.
I'm sure there's still a lot of pain and regrets in some of these.
Here we go.
But before we go any further, I want to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, Drippy Locker, who offers the drippiest basketball shorts on the planet.
Yo, where are the Piston ones at? At least the Piston ones here, man. Pistons? I can't find them, man. Oh, there we go. Oh, hey. Ooh, we have a little teal action. Hey, you love to see it.
You can use
You love to see it, man.
Originally, the Portland Trailblazers drafted Damian Lillard. He's obviously currently their best by far, and they still got him.
No doubt.
At least for now, though. I mean, if they don't make some drastic changes and do something quick, we might not be able to say that for too much longer.
Request a trade.
The Knicks drafted, though, was Kristaps Porzingis, and due to the way things ended with him in New York, with how good he was while he was there, and with what they got in return for him, I know this one's still gotta hurt.
I don't think so. I mean, what they got now is, they're doing some pretty damn good things out there. Plus, they got these draft picks, too. Oh, yeah, they'll be good. Especially if Luka ends up leaving. I don't think it's going to happen. But, I did a video about it on the main channel, Crispy Flakes. But, I now refer to this as the Tim Hardaway trade, let's be honest.
Maybe not as much seeing how bad he's been for the Mavericks, but based on what Kristaps came out and said after the playoffs, it may have been Rick Carlisle's fault and not.
He would not fit in with this current Knicks group for sure.
We'll see. For the Boston Celtics, they've drafted both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum with picks they got from that Brooklyn Nets trade. They've managed to keep both and looks like they're gonna for a long time to come. Jason's obviously the better of the two.
Bro, how is it the Celtics got every single damn Nets pick and the Nets got the better team? I don't really get that, man. How does that happen? How does that happen?
Ever drafted. The San Antonio Spurs have drafted a lot of great players throughout their history, but at least out of current day players, they don't have the best that they picked in Goran Dragic. I think in a couple years, DeJounte Murray could and will
their
take
draft
the spot
experts that fell off.
But for Goran's playoff experience and effectiveness,
scouting team,
he takes it. And San Antonio never even gave him a chance because they drafted him in 2008, then instantly traded him to the Suns. But it's fine, they had Tony Parker at the time, so it makes sense. Then obviously the Hawks' best is Luka Doncic and the Mavs' best is Trae Young. Each team made the original picks, then traded for each other. And obviously nobody in the league today even competes for either of their spots. For the Rockets, though, their spot was a little bit harder to decide. They haven't drafted any stars, but they have picked up a lot of talented role players the past few years, none of which they kept or currently have on the roster, which must hurt. But they've drafted Clint Capella, Marcus Morris, Dylan Brooks, and Montrezl Harrell.
They had Dylan Brooks? Wow, it's pretty. I mean, why'd y'all get rid of Dylan Brooks?
And man, this one's
all
tough.
These guys. Should have kept all these guys.
Right this minute, I'd probably give this one to Dylan Brooks. I want to say Capella, but after the way Brooks played against the Utah Jazz on both ends, he had to take this one. And that's
Clint's got that elite defense.
Rockets who got him in the second round and traded him immediately after. The OKC Thunder's best is then obviously Kevin Durant, who's been unstoppable lately and takes the spot slightly over James Harden and over Russell Westbrook. Nothing needs to be said. Nobody else is even close. But I will say though, OKC's drafted a lot of great players over the past 10 years alone. We do have some controversy though in Memphis.
Oh, here we go.
Giving the spot to Mike Conley, who played there for most of his NBA career. But they've
you might say, wait, did they draft? No, they didn't draft Marc Gasol.
Also drafted Kyle Lowry and Ja Morant. Now, I get a lot of people would give this to Ja. He averaged much better numbers in the regular season and 30 a game against the Jazz.
And you got to do that Mike Conley time.
But Mike's game right now is still more well-rounded,
I'd say Lowry,
actually, for winning games. And Morant just isn't there yet. He knows how to put up numbers, but Conley's figured out how to help his team get wins. So Morant got this one soon, but had to give it to Mike for now. The Sacramento Kings have a complicated history with the NBA draft. They've drafted 2 stars that fell to injury in Isaiah Thomas and DeMarcus Cousins, traded a a couple good picks and ended up with Durant as their best draft pick, who they still surprisingly have. Still haven't done anything with him, but they still got him. And being a bad team hasn't paid off for them as much as it has for the New Orleans Pelicans, who've landed Chris Paul, Anthony Davis, and Zion Williamson.
Oh, damn, that's going to be tough. Zion's not the tough decision. Between AD and CP3, I think it's no doubt Chris Paul. No doubt Chris Paul,
who
actually.
Are all still
Easy.
Current day players. They only have Zion left, but they got some good years from the other two.
Easy,
and
CP.
At this moment in time, Chris Paul takes the spot as the best player they've drafted. The Bucks spot then clearly goes to Giannis, no questions asked, but it's a little more complicated for the Bulls spot because they've drafted both Jimmy Butler and Derrick Rose.
Oh, D-Rose.
At his peak, obviously it'd go to Rose, but if we're talking right now, currently, it's a little more up for debate. Butler was pretty bad this postseason, while Derrick rallied an entire team and looked like his old self. I'd still slightly give this one to Butler though, even though it could go either way, and I can't really decide on it. The real loser in all this though is Chicago, who doesn't have either of them anymore. The Cavs also don't have either.
Well, I mean, I would say in both circumstances, it was time to move on. You know, Derrick Rose, they tried for years with the injuries, but I think the issue with Derrick Rose, on the Bulls after all the injuries was like, they wanted him to become that superstar player again. It just was never going to happen, which probably hurt his confidence. But, like, once he's settled into this new, like, six-man type of role, the dude's been absolutely elite. Like, he's really not even had, like, that bad of a season. I think the worst he's played is probably when he's on the Cavaliers. And then, like, Jimmy Butler's, like, they just couldn't get it done. They tried the whole, like, D-Wade, Jimmy Butler thing didn't really work. But he's been killing the Miami Heat, too.
Of their former top stars in Kyrie Irving or LeBron James, who's Cleveland's best. But with the previously mentioned Jimmy Butler on the Heat now, he's playing with their top current day draft pick in Bam Adebayo. I kind of wanted to give this one to Bojan Bogdanovic though, but I won't. I'll keep it as Bam, even though he had a really weird year and lost a lot of his hype, but he's still got a ton of potential and hopefully more big things to come from him. For the Orlando Magic, best overall career would go to Dwight Howard.
Oh
but
yeah,
best
definitely.
Out of current day players easily goes to Damonte Sabonis, who's really broken out this past year. He was originally
right. They traded him to like wasn't him and Oladipo traded together to OKC for like Serge Ibaka, if I remember correctly. Damn.
The Magic then traded right away in a deal, which has turned out as one of the worst mistakes of the entire 2000s. But Sabonis is great, even though I think he's really still more of a second option. And even though that was bad, overall, very few teams have had as many mistakes with their top draft picks as the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I was going to say the Pistons.
They've drafted a lot
I thought I was going to say the Pistons. I thought he was going to say the damn Pistons.
Who they have. But I think it's time it goes to Zach LaVine, who they traded away years ago. LaVine's only getting better and Towns' game is only getting worse. It's just hard to watch Minnesota make so many mistakes.
Some injuries, but I don't think it's getting worse.
Trading LaVine and Lowry and picking Anthony Edwards. Then LaMelo Ball comes out as the better player and wins Rookie of the Year. The Wizards spot easily goes to a guy like Bradley Beal, who somehow they still have. But as for the LA Lakers,
hey, that Supermax don't play around.
A lot of young guys with a lot of potential, none of which that they have now. But it was guys like D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and my pick for current day best in Julius Randle. That may be a little in question after this terrible postseason for him, but we're gonna assume and hope that it was just because it was his first. Staying in LA though for the Clippers, the options are tough. I mean, it's either Eric Gordon or Blake Griffin, and since Blake's a fourth option that sometimes puts up 20 a game and others puts up 2 a game, we got to give it to Gordon, who's still great on both ends. Steph Curry
Gordon even didn't play that much, did he?
Which doesn't even need anything said about it. Devin Booker takes the spot for the Suns, moving on. But now onto the Jazz, who really have been terrible in the draft over the last 10 to 15 years. In terms of...
Damn, they have been absolutely garbage. Let me see
Jazz,
that again.
Who really have been...
Oh, they got Saban Lee. He's a beast. Well, the man clicked on Grayson Allen. Not bad, not bad. Thomas Bryant's okay. Toyin Waller-Prince.
The draft over the last 10.
Oh my God, this is really bad.
15 years. In terms
of the number one seed,
picks, they've really had no one exciting except for Gordon Hayward, who's still playing pretty good these days. And it's pretty crazy that they've directly drafted no one great that's even been an all-star in 15 years, but they still had the team with the best record in the NBA through great trades and signings. For the Nuggets, it obviously goes to Nikola Jokic, who wasn't drafted until the second round and has now become
Mitchell
MVP
was also
of
drafted by them too, I believe,
making him the biggest draft steal of all time. And due to the Pistons draft luck / skill, they're another team that's been terrible in the grand scheme of things. Their best pick in the past 27 years has been Chris Middleton.
Did you say the past 27 years?
Terrible in the grand scheme of things. Their best pick in the past 27 years has been Chris Middleton. 27 years? It ain't been no damn 27 years since we had a good draft pick. That might actually be true. We got Luke Kennard, so that's one right there. Andre Drummond. He's trash now. Wow.
With Tayshaun Prince, he doesn't really play. I mean, he doesn't play at all. He's retired. He's been retired for years. Grant Hill in 1994, which is, that's about 27 years ago. Damn it, man. We have been Stanley Bitch-Ass Johnson. Hey, Bruce Brown. What about Bruce Brown? What about Bruce Brown? So, right, Cade Cunningham's going to change it all this year, man. It's time to end the streak.
Who they traded away after one season. They've had 7 top 10 picks.
I remember being a fan of him, too. He was drafted with Kim English, I believe.
They're always either a team in the middle of the road or much worse. On the other hand, though, the Philadelphia 76ers had that.
Yeah, you got to think about that with Detroit, too. Not only are we bad at drafting, but ain't nobody want to damn play in Detroit. So that's like double whammy right there. It's like if you are a market where people don't want to play at, you have to draft good to be relevant.
Process where they were getting all the top picks. They had a lot of bust with Okafor, Noel, and Fultz, but they did get Simmons and Embiid out of it, which made it worth it. And of course, Embiid is by far the best player. I want to see him healthy for a full season next year, though, so he can really keep that MVP race interesting. Then the Brooklyn Nets got the best team in the NBA.
I think Curry's going to win MVP next year.
Almost every single one of their draft picks, and the best player they've gotten through the draft recently is only Jared Allen. Allen's not necessarily progressing as well as a lot of people thought he would, which makes it a good thing that Brooklyn ended up trading him when they did.
He was doing okay at Cleveland, wasn't he?
Next, and oddly enough, they drafted both of the Clippers' top 2
Kawhi.
current players, which is odd and must really hurt if you're a Pacers fan. Picking Kawhi and trading him on draft night was one that already hurt for years, and losing out on Paul George.
You want to know what really hurts? It really hurts when you're watching the Clippers and they have a lineup out there of, I mean, I don't know if they ever run this lineup, but Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and like Marcus Morris. And you look at that team and you're like, damn, 3 out of 5 of those guys was on the Pistons, but we were trash. But the reason we were trash is because we can't get the big damn names like Kawhi and Paul George to sign with us.
Free agency just wasn't any better. It just makes you think the Pacers
like
could
a
have
punch
had
to the
this
damn
duo
face, man.
had they made the right
punch
choices.
To the face.
For the Charlotte Hornets, they may be the worst team in the draft ever with all the mistakes they've made and draft busts that they've picked.
Hey, they got LaMelo.
So it's easy to say, but we still got to give it to them. They've drafted Kemba Walker, Tobias Harris, and LaMelo Ball. I think soon LaMelo will take over this spot, but for the next couple of years at least, it's going to stay as Kemba Walker's spot. Then finally, last up, the Toronto Raptors have selected both DeMar DeRozan and Pascal Siakam in the past. And Siakam had a terrible year this year, took a huge step back from where he was supposed to be and from the player people thought he was going to become. But I'd still give it to him over DeMar DeRozan, who's now on the backside of his career. If you enjoyed the video, come and let me know, and I'll catch you.
Alright, that's all we got, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to drop that like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and peace out, my friends.